Emerging economies are blowing some fresh air into the development cooperation world, shaping new forms of solidarity with the intensification of South-South exchanges. And these now account for about 10% of global ODA. South-South cooperation is about knowledge sharing and a quest for knowledge that is relevant. Knowledge production and innovation spans the globe. Countries and communities want to learn from those who have similar problems and experiences. We must be able to link those that think globally about local solutions and those that from the local perspectives often understand better what global solutions we need. And we need then to promote the cross-fertilization of ideas and exchanges of experiences in areas such as those that the Secretary General has described. From the perspective of the ILO, the principles that characterize South-South cooperation are very much those that are inherent in the approach of our decent work agenda. It is based on universal principles set out in the constitution of our organization, established more than 90 years ago. That peace is founded on social justice, that labor is not a commodity, and that poverty anywhere is a threat to prosperity everywhere.
The UN Development Group also decided, among other things, to concentrate on identifying solutions that worked in the Global South in achieving the MDGs and accelerate the transformation of societies and countries so that we can all be proud by year 2015 that we have accomplished most of the MDGs. Therefore, this Global South-South Development Expo is concentrated on solutions, solutions, solutions. The Expo is not a place for discussing problems or offering textbook scenarios. Its sole purpose is to enable developing countries and their development partners, including donor agencies, organizations of the UN system, and the private sector and civil society organizations working together to regularly and systematically and annually showcase evidence-based development solutions that can be scaled up or adapted to various circumstances throughout the Global South in achieving those development goals.
I don't think South-South cooperation should be only the icing of an empty cake. South-South cooperation is part of an attitude, a broad attitude that has to do with trade, with investment, and with politics. And as I said, I have been saying sometimes, not to confront the North or not to ignore the North, thanks to the possibility of our better coordination. Take the trade field, for example, the coordination that we started in the G20, the WTO G20, that made us more respected, and which changed, I mean, for people who know WTO, who changed it forever, forever. I'll be able to say that. Maybe there will be other changes in the future, but we changed it forever, the pattern of the negotiation in the WTO. I mean, I am an old hand in those things. I don't say that with pride, necessarily, but I'm an old hand on these things, and I remember when there were the meetings, Mr. Kaur knows, of the Quad. And the Quad was United States, European Union, Canada, and Japan. And then, during these rounds, which unfortunately did not conclude yet, but which I still hope we'll be able to conclude some, I say we in a general sense, a mankind sense, we'll be able to conclude at some point, when people said for a long time G4, which would be the equivalent of the Quad, it was European Union, United States, Brazil, and India. But Brazil and India representing, by and large, the G20 and other developing countries. So this is a sea change due to South-South cooperation.
The solutions are where the problems are, and we need appropriate channels to spread this innovation throughout the South, following the principles of solidarity among nations, respect for national autonomy and priorities, and diversity of circumstances and challenges. And these forums offers an excellent opportunity to share solutions and reiterate our commitment to social justice. The implementation of social protection flows, while taking into account the needs and realities of each country, will require not only broad, sustainable political and economic support, but also cooperation in the broadest sense of the word within each country and among countries and regions. And of course, as everybody else has already said, South-South cooperation has an fundamental role to play. And why I'm here talking about South-South cooperation and about social protection flow. Let me share my own experience as former president of my country that stands the furthest to the south in the world, Chile. Throughout my presidential campaign and from the first days of my term, I stated my administration's primary goal was to invest in people, to put people first by implementing a social protection system that would guarantee people's rights and at the same time convert beneficiaries into workers, inactive people into productive ones through a comprehensive and integrated social protection approach.
South-South cooperation is therefore of vital importance to all developing countries as a vehicle for developing and strengthening interdependence amongst developing countries through investment, trade, technology transfer, and exchanging financial and institutional knowledge in support of finding solutions to our common and our individual developmental challenges. The ongoing challenge facing the global community, and here we are dealing with an ever-changing environment. The assumptions that we've made over the last 30 years in the globe, the assumptions that in fact that led to certain institutional mechanisms, those assumptions obviously where we are sitting now needs to be reflected on and see how do we reposition some of the mechanisms and some of the institutions to strengthen South-South cooperation.